In this video, we're back to working on our 1985 Square Body Chevy, and we're going to be doing some maintenance. But anyways, we're going to be showing you how to change out some U-joints, and we're also going to be fixing a pretty nasty exhaust leak that this truck happens to have, and it's all coming up in this video.
What do we have here? Must be some hooligans.
Hey, want to go for a ride in my Square Body?
Yeah.
So we actually have the drive shaft in the back of the little S10 here, and I'm just going to show you some stuff quick. These U-joints are absolutely shot. I wish I still had the end caps for you because that's how horrific this was. Basically, when I got the truck, a little over a year ago now, I knew that the U-joints, especially the caps with the little needle bearings inside, that they were kind of no good. And I had the opportunity to replace them when we did the engine swap, and I bought brand new U-joints. Never did it. That's mostly because I was lazy and I just wanted the truck to run and I wanted to go do burnouts, which is exactly what we did. But it's about too many months later, and yeah, it's time that we put U-joints in it, especially because she's getting some more upgrades for the horsepowers, and it's going to be nice to have a drive shaft with good U-joints in it to do that. So that's why we're doing this. Actually went and grabbed one of these caps quick. This is off of a lighter duty I think this come off a front axle for like a K10 or a Suburban, but it's a lighter duty cap, but still same principle. You see those little guys in there, those are all your needle bearings. Those are kind of important. They're supposed to be greased and they're supposed to all be in there. So when they go on the end here, this one obviously doesn't fit, but it slides all the way down into like this kind of seal area here. And basically when the drive shaft's doing its twisty thing, you know what I'm talking about. Basically those are supposed to be lubed and whatnot, and all that. The old ones were not, and as you see, even these ones are kind of crudded up. There's a lot of rust in there, and it's kind of important to have all those, because if stuff like this falls apart and breaks, the whole drive shaft can just shroomp and then drop out of the truck and then smash up the box. And then, I mean, this box isn't perfect, but like, come on now, let's try to keep it nice, even though it's kind of not. Anyway, yeah, these are those needle bearings I was talking about. And basically the old caps that we had when I pulled this drive shaft out, these were missing. And basically they were turned into dust and powder inside the cap here, and that was no good at all. So like I said, we're gonna put in the new U-joints here and take care of that problem. All right, so I got a drive shaft here. We have a special actual press, and basically first thing you want to do, I didn't show you, but we have these little retainer clips. Sometimes some drive shafts are different. These ones happen to have the clips in them. And basically where these clips go is they walk in, there's a little ring right here, and basically those clips walk in, get in there with a screwdriver, pick them out. Sometimes if they're rusty, they are going to break in there. Just make sure that you get the old ones completely out. Then you take your press, and like I said, I kind of went and did some stuff for this because it's the first time I used one of these, and I wanted to use it first before I just kind of showed you. But then what you're going to do is you're going to line up your press on the one side, and as you see on the press, it has the open end here. It goes around this side, and basically as you thread that press in, it's going to press your U-joint out. Your caps is going to come and stick out, and basically you want to pull your cap off the one side, flip it back over, and that's how you're going to drop these out. I need to get this other cap off, but once we do that, this yoke, which is the part that goes into the back of our transfer case, will be free. And then we'll get to working on putting our brand new Mog ones in. And then we're just gonna go ahead here. Grab our cap, pull it off, get it loosened up. You should be able to finagle it out of here. Should be able to. it's hard to do this with one hand. Come on, get out of the air. She goes, okay. All right, old one's out. Got to get the new one in. All right, so we got the front one half in. I wanted to stop here, give you a little bit of an update. Make sure you clean out the surface area in here where these actual caps are gonna ride. Scotch-Brite and brake clean will do the trick. Then you're gonna take both your end caps off of the new one. Slide the one side in, slide the other side in. Take your one cap, align it on this side and get it started over on this hole. And then basically what I ended up doing was taking a hammer and a punch because I didn't want to use the press because the press could have screwed it up if things went awry. And then you're just going to punch it in. And then this, your other end here, so both your ends are already stuck in. And take your other end cap, stick your end cap on this side and basically pound these both in until they're all the way in. And where you see where your new retainer clip is going to go in there and seat and lock these in. And then you got your U-joint in. And then the only thing we got to do for the front side here is throw it. Basically do the same exact thing on this side. Caps come off, these slide on, put this on, press them on, get them on there with the hammer and the punch. And then our front's done, and then we just got to do our rear one. All right, so we got our fronts completely back together. We got our retaining clips back in, so now that's all in and good. Even went back here to the back one and got our back one in. Our clips are on here and here. And basically the last thing that we have to do is put our grease fitting in. And that's as simple as throwing it in the hole. Make sure you don't cross thread it, but it's as simple as just get it in there and get the thread started. And we have new U-joints in our drive shaft, which is nice. And then we're gonna go ahead and move on to our exhaust fix. Oh, hey, wait a minute. We forgot an important step here. I'm gonna do it before we get it into the truck just because. Put grease in your grease fittings so your U-joint is greased, which is simple. Have the grease gun there, just forgot to mention it, but we are greasing these before we throw it back in the truck. You can wait to throw it back in the truck and then grease it while it's in the truck, but it's easier to do it while it's out of the truck. So make sure your U-joints are greased up and then you're good. Now let's go fix the exhaust. Some of you are thinking, it doesn't sound terrible, but it doesn't sound great either. And that's because we do have a few exhaust leaks that we need to take care of. Basically, we have our headers that are, I believe, what were those? Headman headers? Yes, that we put on in our budget build video. And basically, right after the collector, the exhaust that I actually got, we got off of a really good family friend, same guy that we bought the engine, the tranny, and the transfer case from. Basically, the problem was when I went to hack the exhaust off, because the exhaust is very simple. For anybody that was wondering what the exhaust was on this, it is true duals, obviously axle dump. It's 2.5-inch pipe, and the mufflers on it are Dynamax race bullets. Highly recommend them. I absolutely love them. I bought them specifically for this because I knew that they were going to be pretty good. Obviously for headers, these are Headman headers, and some guys were really confused about this, and I guess I'll go over it real quick. When we did the budget build, a lot of you guys were going, why on earth would you not put a cam in it? And that is a great $1,000,000 question, and I'm going to kind of clear that info up now. This was a throttle body injected 350 when we bought it. All the work was done to the bottom end. You know, obviously, it's only a 2-bolt main, so nothing crazy and ridiculous, and it still got the swirl port heads on it and all that. We went over all that information, but there was an upgraded cam put in this. But the reason why we didn't put one in it was because we knew that there was an upgraded cam in it, and if we put a cam in it, it wasn't going to matter because these heads weren't, you know, really good for making horsepower. So why put a bigger cam in it to try to make more peak horsepower when these heads were specifically designed for low end torque and emissions and whatnot. But the cam that's in it is upgraded. I think it's, from what the guy was telling me, it was one of the biggest ones that you could put in with the stock throttle body injection. Obviously, like, because in the, I technically, I'm not sure if you'd call it an ECU, but basically what controls the throttle body part. When this engine was throttle body injected, there's chips in them, and basically the chips are basically what tells the throttle body how much fuel to squirt into the intake, and then you have your whole combustion happening in the cylinder heads and whatnot. But you can only go with so big of a cam until you have to upgrade the chip, because basically if you put too much of a cam in it, it'll throw everything off, and the ECU won't know how much fuel to give to the engine, and it won't run right. So that's why we didn't touch it, because I knew there was a little bit of an upgraded cam in it, and you can kind of hear it when the truck runs, and it runs half decent. But like I said before, we have some upgrades coming for it, so don't worry too much about that. But I just wanted to give that a quick little reference and rundown, just for people who are still confused on that, or if I misconstrued some of the information on that. Exhaust on this is just a pre-axle dump, so literally it comes out of the headers here. Obviously, there's your headers, and it just comes into the pipe, bends around, and just goes right back to the axle dumps. That's not what I want on this in the future. One day when I actually get around to making the truck nice and not such a clapped out pile that it is, we're probably going to run dual pipes right out the back. Maybe have one like about here and the other one about here. And it's going to sound really good, but it doesn't sound bad now. But we have a huge exhaust leak because when I cut it off the other truck had exhaust manifolds, not headers. And if I slide under here, I'll show you what happened. Basically, we had to put in this section of pipe, and you see all that black stuff? That's where it's all just leaking out. So basically we're going to pull this down, and we're going to weld this solid here so it doesn't leak there anymore, and it won't sound as garbagey. And it'll be nice too, because like I said, pretty awesome upgrades coming up for this budget build small block Chevy that's in this truck right now, that you're all very well familiar with on this channel. And like I said, we're going to be bumping up the horsepowers a little bit. I'm not going to give away too much information. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but if you read the comment sections, you should probably already know what's coming. But I want to take care of all this stuff now, so it's not a problem when we go to, do some upgrades and give her a little bit more of a bump stick, and it sounds, really good. Because it would be a damn shame we go to fire it up and go to break in that hydraulic flat tappet. I'm spoiling too much information. Anyway, it'd be really damn shame to fire it up and break the cam in, and then of course everybody's like, well, you're sharing this cam with us, we want to know how it sounds in the truck. Because most people on the YouTubes just, they'll just, I got this cam, and throw it in there, and you don't get to actually fully hear the exhaust note. And it's like, well, that's annoying, and I ain't gonna do that to you. But I'm also gonna be quite embarrassed when there's a nice cam in this truck finally, and this truck's finally making the horsepower that it deserves, and it sounds like absolute garbage. So we're gonna try to fix that now, so that's not a problem later. You get where I'm going. Okay, let's slide under there. I gotta drop that out, and then we're gonna go zip, zap, do-dab it. All right, it's geared in. The exhaust dropped off the passenger side. I'm gonna show you now. Now, just bear with me for a minute here. Just one. I was in a hurry. I had to get this exhaust slammed together real quick. Had to do it fast. So please, just relax with me for a minute. The reason why it sounds probably as junky as it does is maybe because it's leaking from this significant, area here. Half of your older dudes just went, that kid, he's a buffoon. And I'm not going to disagree with you, but we're fixing it now, though. Do I at least get credit for that? No? Yeah, fair enough. All right, so we got our exhaust here, and basically what I did is I took the air gun, blew it off. It did get a little wet, rained on the way up here. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna clean up all the rust in this crevice here, because if you just get in there with the stick and just start welding, it's just gonna pop and it's gonna be garbage. And I've seen guys do that before, and it doesn't turn out that good. So get in here, you wanna clean up this entire area and get it down to bare metal again, so when you get in here to weld, it'll look good. All right, so we went up and cleaned around the whole area here. I also went ahead up here on the top pipe to get a good ground for our ground cable. Cleaned off some of the rust there. So now we're ready to get in there and try to zip zap it. Now mind you, I haven't welded in years, so this is probably either gonna go really, really good or just absolutely terrible. Probably the latter of the two. And we'll just see if we can get in there and try to fix that up. Okay, yeah, I'm not a welder. So after some extensive grinding work and a little bit more welding work, we went back in there and cleaned some of that up. That's gonna seal. Now boys, I know it don't look good at all. Don't think I don't know that, but it's going to be functional. And if you didn't watch this video, would you know how terrible those welds were? No, you would not have, because you're gonna be too busy listening to the shrieking power of a 355 small block Chevy, and that's what we're here to do. So, passes my test. Heck, I think Helen Keller would say it looks good. Some of you are probably wondering, how are we getting the truck to drive and move around if the drive shaft's supposed to be out of it? When we got the tranny and transfer case, I also grabbed the front and rear drive shafts out of the other truck, so that's what I threw in it, just to keep the truck movable if I needed to. So basically what we gotta do is we gotta take out our bolts back here. We have 2 on the top and then 2 on the bottom. We gotta take those guys out, drop the back part of the drive shaft down. Then it's gonna slide out of the transfer case up here. We'll drop this drive shaft out, put the other one in, and get it all Gucci and in there. All right, should just about have these all the way out. Those 2 are good, and those 2 are good. So we'll go ahead and drop our nuts out of here. Make sure you don't lose any of this stuff. That's kind of important. Kind of does the whole retain everything in there job. I'm trying to think if this is gonna be, oh, did it get a little stuck in there? Sometimes you gotta get behind the U-joint. Oh, there we go. Oh, come on. You were just there, you go. Okay. You just slide up, grab it, and just nice and gently pull it out like that. One of the quick things I did want to mention about these drive shafts is especially the front part of the yoke that actually goes into the back of your transfer case. I took this up to my dad's, in case you guys couldn't tell, to do the U-joints. But one thing I did want to say was that when you go to transport these, make sure you put something over these. The big crucial part is these need to be clean, this part of the yoke, because it slides in. There's actually seal in the back of your transfer case that kind of seals. And ours, I think, drips just a little bit, but it's nothing terrible. But you always want to wrap these up and keep these clean. If you get any dirt or anything on them and you just throw them right back in the hole, you can tear up that seal, and that's no good. So definitely make sure this is clean of debris like dirt, dust, whatever. And also make sure there's no rust on it too, because that's not going to help either. And even if you got one of these and you're going to put it away for long-term storage like the other one that I got, go ahead and wrap it up with if you got some sort of plastic you can wrap around it, or even take some, what I did for this to transport it, and what I'm going to do for that one is I'm going to take some like paper towel or a shop rag, wrap it around the end, and then just take some tape and tape it up. That'll keep all the dirt and whatnot off it. It won't get scuffed at all, and should keep the rust off it too if you take some WD-40 and spray it down with some of that too, just because it's, the oils and whatnot. It should allow it not to get rusty. You could also probably get away with using some grease too, but all right, enough talking, and let's get this thing back in there. Go ahead and get this guy set up. You want to get it set on your splines first. Do we actually have it lined up? Oh, look at that. First try. Not bad. One thing I did here too that I'll show you is, in order to transport these so you didn't lose your caps, I took some tape and wrapped them around our U-joint caps just so we didn't lose them. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. You're probably going, why didn't he just throw the transfer case in neutral? This transfer case is functional, but there's something up with it where sometimes I've actually had it hop out of gear on me, and he said that it's probably worn, so the shift forks or whatever are probably worn out in it. But I just try not to touch the transfer case if I don't have to. So, pavement princess, yes. Why? Well, 2 reasons, but the main one kind of being I just don't want to mess with the transfer case too much. And it's in there, it's functional. And like I said, the whole deal with this Turbo 400 and this NP208, it's not going to be a permanent solution. I would like to put the 700 R4 back in it. Actually, I had an 89 K10 Suburban that I dropped a 700 R4 out of, and it was a K case 700 R4, which, in case for guys who are not know what I'm referring to, basically there's actually a K stamped onto the bell housing. And basically they're supposed to be a stouter case. So the game plan is to eventually have that tranny built up to handle probably, I don't know, 500-600 horsepower. And then the original small block Chevy that was in this, it was original 350 4-bolt main. I want to get that built to a 383 and drop that whole drivetrain back in this truck eventually. But for now, we're just running what we got. But like I said, the tranny, I got a sweet deal on the tranny and the transfer case. Honestly, the whole drivetrain, the dude really set me up good. So that's why that's what's currently in it. Because originally he thought it was he had a 700 R4, and I'm like, oh sweet, rebuilt fresh Jasper rebuild with a shift kit. It should be pretty good. And then it turned out it was a turbo 400, and I'm just like, you know what? For the price of it and the fact that it's a good functional turbo 400. For that money, I'd be stupid not to buy it anyways. So yeah, I guess the turbo 400 is going in the truck, and that's what ended up happening there. But like I said, just running with what we got. Another thing you might be noticing is, like, it's all wet up in here. That seal leaks just a hair, just like a little bit, just a skosh. It's barely noticeable. But we're just gonna let that go for now. Like I said, there's so much work to do on this truck, and a lot of it comes down to I'm lazy and I want to drive it, and I'll take care of the things that are a current problem in front of my face. So that's what we're doing. But yeah, we'll button this up, and I guess we got to go take it for a test drive now, right? Yeah. One thing I'm gonna recommend: make sure these are pretty snug. You don't want them stripped, but you do want them, tight. Because if they're not, they will back out. Don't ask me how I know. Let's just not talk about that detail. But yeah, they will back out, and then they start making a really crazy noise while you're doing like 70, 75 down the highway, and you're like, maybe I should like pull out and pull over and check that out. And then you realize they're loose, and you're like, whew, well, that would explain that noise. And then you fix it, and you keep driving like nothing ever happened. But it could be pretty catastrophic if these backed out all the way, and the drive shaft dropped out of the back of it, just freaking pogo stick the truck, or drive shaft comes up and just starts beating the heck out of the bed, and just bad stuff happens. Make sure your bolts are tightened. That's all I'm saying. But all right, we got it in, and I guess we get to go fire the thing up and hear the horsey sang, all 220 of them. And let's go make sure that there's no noise or any of that good stuff. Cool. What is that? I can't have anything nice. That was just on the floor. I guess my adhesive job that I did a few months ago didn't last because of the cold weather here in northeastern PA, but that'll be what it'll be. This truck usually likes 2 pumps right off the bat. This Brawler 650 usually does pretty good. Actually, sounds a lot better. There might still be a little bit of exhaust leaks because I only have hangers, or not hangers, but exhaust clamps for the Dynomax race bullets, just because this exhaust isn't staying on this truck forever, and I do plan to eventually pull it apart, and I want it to pull apart easier and not have it clamped and pinched and everything. But it does sound a heck of a lot better, and we're only idling. Oh, idle's coming up now. I was about to say the electric choke should be kicking in. Probably gonna rev up to 2 grand, which is a little high. I have messed with the idle cam a little bit, but there is a slight intake manifold leak when we installed this intake manifold, and I'll be honest, I just never fixed it because I knew it was all coming back apart. And there's 2 grand. Let it come back down. Should come back down. There it goes. Doesn't sound bad. Really doesn't. I'm happy with it. You know what the nice part about old GM ignitions? You just pull the key out. So when you got to go move your other clapped out GM vehicle, you can just pull the key right out and just walk away and do it. We're actually gonna give her the old 1.2 here. We'll spin her up. We'll go 3,500. Why not? I'll turn the lights on. Yeah, that'll do me justice. I'm very happy with that. Sounds good. Like I said, those Dynamax race bullets between 3 to 4 grand. This truck just sounds absolutely awesome, and it has a really tiny cam in it. So I don't know. I think it sounds half decent for probably only making like 220 horse. So that upgraded cam must be doing something. But yeah. Well, I think that's where we're gonna end this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do appreciate it as always. If you haven't done it yet, perhaps consider subscribing. Just a suggestion. We are on social media too. If you want to go follow us on Instagram, that'd be awesome. We are Boneyard Revivals on Instagram if you want to check that out. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. The next time you see the Square Body Chevy, we'll be taking those horsepowers and just, you know, making them, you know, better. Because, you know, louder, faster, all of that good stuff. But we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.